This is the video game Banished. When do you harvest your crops? You notice that there's a bar at the bottom that says 39% yield. When it gets to 100%, it will automatically harvest the crops, which means your farmers and your laborers will help to take all the crops and put it into a storage facility. There is a few cases where you want to do it early or manually by clicking the harvest button, and I'm going to explain that. You see this graph over here, which has my food. You'll notice that there was a time not too long ago, about 5 years ago, when I had a food shortage, and even right now I'm growing my food supply. So what you can do in the case of a food shortage, if you need to get your food to your people really fast, you can harvest early. And one of the other advantages of harvesting early is that your farmers can work on more than one field at the same time. You see that I've got 87, I've got 70 out of 87. Imagine if I only had half. What you can do is harvest it, and by the time they finish most of the harvesting, they can work on a new field. So they can kind of work on two fields at the same time. I'm going to show you what it's like to hit the harvest button in a moment. It's up to 75% yield. Now keep in mind, different products like pumpkin and pepper, they plant at different times and they harvest at different times. You see, this one's up to 95%, and that's for bean. That's for squash. So it's good to have a variety of foods when you have a shortage of farmers, because your farmers can harvest multiple crops in the same season because the harvest starts at a different time. So in the case of this one, I am going to harvest it early. With the 95% yield. See, there's the process. Like I said, the laborers and the farmers will both do it. And then when the farmers are done harvesting, when everything is harvested, what they will do is they will become laborers. You don't have to change their setting. They will do it automatically. So you can have it all the way up. And then when the winter time comes or they got nothing to do, they will go and do general labor work. And labor might be something as simple as picking up an item, such as a food item, and putting it into a storage facility. And the storage facilities obviously are ordering your crops because you want them to harvest as quickly as possible. You see it's down to a 78% yield. Got a case here where we've got squash is only at 62%, has not been harvested yet. And by the time they finish this wheat field, they're probably going to start working on this other field next to it. Definitely getting there. Doing a pretty good job. You notice that they left some of the crops behind, and that's a case where a laborer will go pick it up, and the laborer will go put it in the workshop. I'm sorry, in the storage facility. It's possible that the farmer may have had an emergency where he had to stop working. So you can see I brought it from 95% down to 33%, and they're starting to harvest this other field. So this is an example when they are finished with the beans. We'll see what the harvest is remaining for squash. A little bit more to go and it's done. So you can see I can do 72% of the yield. The remaining 72% can be done, performed by farmers that were working on this other field. So that's a little bit about when to harvest and how harvesting works.